What's up, everybody? This is Danny Thompson from AroundTheAssociation.com, and this is the Around the Association podcast. It is Monday morning, November 18th, 2019, and this is the weekend wrap-up edition of the morning of the NBA week. Before we get into everything going on, let's go ahead and tell you how to follow me on Twitter at Danny DANNY number 3 Thompson on Twitter, AroundTheAssociation.com, which has everything you need for all the NBA news and also analysis across from all parts of the NBA, as well as this, you can subscribe to the podcast, which is free. Go ahead and take care of that. It's on Spotify, on iTunes, on iHeartRadio, as well as other podcasting formats, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Podomatic, everywhere you're going to find podcasts, you will find this podcast. So let's catch you up on the entire weekend of the NBA. I know it's a lot going on, 3 days worth of action. So let's get you started off with the biggest story of the weekend. Well, at one point earlier on in the month, the Sacramento Kings, the beginning of the season, Sacramento Kings, they had the best start of the season. They were getting off to a slow start, a team that had a lot of high expectations. I was one of those people who had high expectations for the Kings. But with the Kings, the beginning of the season wasn't the easiest. Marvin Bagley goes down, is missing time. He's still injured. De'Aaron Fox hurts his ankle. He's going to be out for at least about a month. So the Sacramento Kings, you would think at this point, losing two of their major guys for long periods of time, you would think that the Kings would just be, almost dead in the water, you want to say. But the Sacramento Kings, not only did they they had a heartbreaking loss to the LA Lakers on Friday night, but they ended the Boston Celtics 10-game winning streak at home on Sunday in dramatic fashion as Rashard Holmes knocked down 2 free throws. They had a controversial call on Friday night that a lot of Kings fans, it was really sketchy. Anthony Davis kind of got away with one on Friday night, but they took the basketball guys took care of him Sunday. Rashard Holmes knocked a couple of key free throws down the stretch. And then at the end of the game, the Celtics just could not get a shot open. Marcus Smart got the ball, had a floater in the lane, and the ball went in, and then it went out. Celtics lose on the road 100-99 to the Kings. 35 points from Buddy Hield in the game. Hield had been phenomenal over the last couple games. The Kings are now 5-2. In the month of November. They're 5-7 on the season. This Kings team is starting to find things together. Bojan Bogdanovic is taking over a playmaking role. He's been basically handling the offense. He's had a couple 10 assist games, including 10 assists yesterday on Sunday. Buddy Hield, like I said, 35 points in that game. This was probably one of the better games of the weekend. Kemba Walker only held to 15 points and 9 assists. It was really good defense by the Kings all night. Marcus Smart, ironically, that shot went out, shot 2 of 16 in the game. So, other interesting things over the weekend. The Atlanta Hawks had the nice little LA back-to-back road trip, and it was not pretty. Paul George has come in since his return from the injury and has just been dominating. Saturday night was no different. Paul George in a game where, like I said, it's kind of a minute restriction type of thing with him. Paul George had another huge game, 37 points in 20 minutes. The Clippers scored 150 points on Saturday night. It just wasn't 150 points. It was a lot of points. The Clippers didn't even have Kawhi Leonard as well as Patrick Beverley or Landry Shamet, but Paul George's home debut, really with little practice time, like I said, on a minute restriction, 37 points. He scored the most points in 37 points, become the first player to score 37 or more points in fewer than 20 minutes in the history of the NBA. I mean, it's really, and Paul said it for me from the first night when they played New Orleans. It's not the fact of he said this is the best his shoulders have felt in a very long time. It's just the timing and, of course, minute restrictions. But let's just say this, 44 minutes played, 70 points scored in 2 games. That is Paul George. The Clippers are soon to be a dangerous team. But who had the best weekend of the NBA? I know I just mentioned the Kings. Like I said, they had a heartbreaking loss on Friday night, and then they had the victory on Sunday. But what about what's going down in Buzz City in Charlotte? And over the weekend, Charlotte not only had just one victory, but 2 victories on back-to-back nights, and then in dramatic fashion in both games. Friday night against the Detroit Pistons, Malik Monk hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer to give them a 106 victory at home. And then they go to New York the next night And Devontae Graham hits a three-pointer with less than basically 2.8 seconds left in the game. He had knocked down 9 threes in the game. Charlotte wins that game 103-102. And for those who had the Hornets at 6-7 to start the season, you might want to go to Vegas because you want a lot of money. The Hornets have been playing some outstanding basketball. They're really getting contributions from a lot of different players. Malik Monk has really been showing an improved game over the last couple of weeks. He's been coming into that 6-man role. Devontae Graham has moved into the starting lineup due to injuries to Dwayne Bacon, and they're getting contributions. Like I said, Monk had 12 and 5, but he had the 20-something points on Friday night in their victory. PJ Washington's been solid. Cody Zeller's been doing a little bit of everything. The one player I do concern myself with is Miles Bridges. Bridges has not been playing well over the last couple of games. Hopefully he snaps out of it. But the good thing about this young group of Hornets is that they're giving their best effort. Every night they're playing hard under James Borrego. The Hornets are 6-7. We talk about teams that have been surprising in the first part of the season. We talk about the Phoenix Suns getting a lot of credit for what they've done with Devin Booker. Ricky Rubio has been the main addition to that team and what they've done under Monty Williams. But look what James Borrego's done in Charlotte. I know it's 6-7, but for a team who lost their 2 top scorers in Jeremy Lamb, who's injured out in Indiana, of course, All-Star Kemba Walker. For them to lose that type of scoring and for them to be actually competitive in a lot of these games and actually winning some of these games, it's a good thing to watch. The Hornets have a chance to go to 500 on Monday night as they take on the Toronto Raptors. Other things going on over the weekend, James Harden is still James Harden. On Saturday night, James Harden scored 49 points in the Rockets' 125-105 victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. James Harden has just seemed to score at rates and paces that are just almost incredible. On Friday night, he had 49 on Saturday. On Friday against Indiana, he scored 44. James Harden's on pace to score over 40 points a game. It's something we have not seen in the NBA since Wilt Chamberlain. Harden's at 38.7 points a game, which leads the NBA, and it's not even close right now. This might be the best season Harden's had offensively shooting the basketball, scoring-wise, in a very, very long time. Yes, he took 41 shots to score 49 points. It is what it is. But against the Timberwolves on Saturday night, yes, Harden did take 41 shots. It was a bunch of shots. But if you look at the actual who they had on the floor, they didn't have Russell Westbrook, who was on a back-to-back. No Clint Capella. So obviously Harden had to shoot on a insane number of shots. Fortunately for the Rockets on Saturday, Austin Rivers had knocked down 19 points. Chris Clemens came off the bench and scored 19 points. Ben McLemore has been a guy. I don't know how you put it, but Ben McLemore over the last couple of games looked like a guy that actually should be in rotation in the NBA. His last 2 games, which were back-to-backs, he had 21 points and then 20 points on Saturday. He's been scoring the ball more because he's getting more playing time. Listen, in the Rockets offense, guys are going to get open shots. Your job is to knock them down, and McLemore has been knocking them down. He's knocked out, I think it's been 8 or 9 3-pointers over the last couple of games. He's getting his shots open. He's getting the ability to knock down shots as well, too. Big shout-outs to Ben McLemore for actually, stepping up. I mean, you're missing Aaron Gordon. You're missing a lot of guys on the Houston Rockets. And the correct 3-point number, 8 3-pointers in the last 2 games. Also, a team that's had a very good weekend, the Orlando Magic. The Magic went into Friday night's game without Jonathan Isaac due to a sprained ankle because he did it at the team's function, the media event where they unleashed the orange jerseys. The Magic won both their games over the weekend and also won in very tight fashion, 111-109 on Friday night over the Spurs. And then on Sunday night at home, they took care of business 125-121 over the Washington Wizards. The Magic ended their home stretch at 4-1. They're now back themselves at 6-7. I know Magic fans had some issues with the team offensively, but they're scoring the basketball now. Tonight, the 125 points was a lot of points. Markelle Fultz had a career-high 19 points. I know 19 points isn't a lot, but for Markelle Fultz and Magic fans, this is something that's going to have to be documented. He had a big first half. It was at 16 in the first half. He hit his first couple 3-pointers. He finished the game with also 2 or 3 from the 3-point line, 8 of 10 from the floor. The real issue for the Magic going into the week is that Michael Carter-Williams got hurt, and so did DJ Augustine. That leaves them a true point guard on the roster. Fultz is going to have to play more minutes. Otherwise, you might see Josh Majette, or they might go out and try to grab somebody because DJ Augustine could be out for an extended period of time. He hurt his wrist. There'll be X-ray came back negative. We should know more about the injury tomorrow. So there's been a lot of stuff going on in the NBA. The Memphis Grizzlies are playing some really good basketball. They did lose on Sunday. Ja Morant has driven some excitement into the team. They did win the Mike Conley return match on Friday night, 107-106. Morant has been looking better and better each game. His status as far as rookies have been going up and up and up. So that's been the major story of the weekend. Like I said, the Celtics winning streak is over. Philadelphia has struggled over the weekend. They did win Sunday, but they lost to Oklahoma City. And speaking of the Thunder, who would have thought the Thunder be at 5-7 with Chris Paul leading the way and showing a lot of very good, very, very solid leadership. So, as the weekend concludes, what was the best performance of the weekend? Listen, I know it was 41 shots he took on Saturday night, but James Harden's 49 points against the Minnesota Timberwolves was the performance of the weekend. I mean, it is what it is. James Harden had 41 points on Friday, 49 points on Saturday. Harden, 80, that's 90 points in 2 nights. He's putting up, like I said, insane numbers. Yes, it's the same number of shots, but it's also Rockets victories. The Rockets are now 10-3. Who would have thought the Rockets be 10-3 and Russell Westbrook not look like the Russell Westbrook of old? So Monday night NBA we're getting back to a brand new start of the week. So let's get you over to the game of the night. And the game of the night for Monday night will be out in Phoenix. You're looking at the only match of the night with 2 teams that have winning records of over 600. You got the Boston Celtics taking on the Phoenix Suns. The Celtics are on that road trip, losing a heartbreaker, like I said, on Sunday on the road in Sacramento, taking on a Phoenix Suns team who has won some big games at home already this season. They've beaten the Clippers. They've beaten Phoenix. They beat the Clippers. They've beaten Philadelphia. They've held games close against the Lakers as well as the Denver Nuggets. The Suns are 7-4. The one thing looking at this matchup is how can the Celtics bounce back? This is the first time they've lost since opening their first game. They won 10 straight at this point. How are the Celtics going to bounce back? Will Kemba Walker do well against Ricky Rubio as one of the better defenders in the NBA, one of the more underrated ones in the league? And really, can the Suns score enough points to take care of business at home? Other matchups will start from top to bottom, starting at the 7 o'clock game, Cavs and Knicks. Cavs are coming off a loss on Sunday at home, going against a Knicks team that blew a 15-point lead against Charlotte on Saturday. Pacers and Nets, we don't know about Kyrie Irving's situation. Irving did sit out the win against the Bulls on Saturday night. Pacers have been playing some really good basketball. Sans loss against the Rockets on Friday night, where he did lose Malcolm Brogdon in that game. Hopefully he'll be available for the Pacers on Monday night. Good news is that Miles Turner did make his return. He did play solid basketball, but he's getting back off an injury, so it's taking a little while against the Nets team that's been really good in the interior with DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen. Hornets and Raptors, like I mentioned before, the Hornets have a chance to go to 500 against a Raptors team that has been one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. The questions they have every single night is who is going to be the biggest scoring option outside Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. That's going to be the real key if the Raptors are going to win, if they can find a better scorer. Bucks and Bulls play again in Chicago. Giannis against the Bulls. No Otto Porter Jr. again for the Bulls on Monday night. Giannis has just been Giannis. He's going to put the big numbers up. The question is, where can they find scoring? Because Chris Middleton's going to be out for the next couple of weeks. Will they get it from Dante DiVincenzo? Will it be Brook Lopez? Will it be George Hill? Can Eric Bledsoe continue to keep putting up 27, 28 points a game? We'll find out against a Bulls team that Cody White, listen, Jim Boy, if you listen to this podcast, should be in the starting lineup. Blazers and Rockets, this game kind of took a little bit of momentum out because Carmelo Anthony is not available for the Blazers, should be available on Tuesday. Rockets are one of the best teams in the NBA, like I said, scoring a lot of points. James Harden against Damian Lillard. Oh, that's going to be some high scoring fest there. Spurs and Mavericks in the Texas two-step. Mavericks are still one of the best teams in the NBA with the highest scoring dynamic duo of Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, one of the best scoring duos in the league against the Spurs team that is still struggling. And Greg Popovich was ejected the other night. Not a pretty sight. Spurs have got to find consistency when it comes to both ends of the ball. Jazz and Timberwolves out in Utah at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Jazz are a team. They fell short against Memphis on Saturday night, on the Mike Conley game on Friday night. Expect Mike Conley to hopefully break out the shooting slump. They need to find some scoring from him because otherwise, even though he's not scoring, the Jazz are going to need him to break out the slump. Bojan Bojanovic has been scoring a lot of big buckets. Of course, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert are two of the best in their positions in the NBA. Late game, as Paul George gets his former team, Clippers and Thunders, they take a game at 10:30. Clippers hopefully will have Kawhi Leonard, and we might be able to see Kawhi and Paul George play together for the first time. It is questionable for Kawhi's return. We don't know how that injury is going to play out. So, I just broke down the entire weekend in 16 minutes. Follow me on Twitter at Danny, D-A-N-N-Y Thompson, number 3 Thompson on Twitter, as well as AroundTheAssociation.com for anything and everything all NBA. Subscribe to the podcast, share it all to your friends. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, Google Play Store, Google Podcasts, everywhere you're going to find the podcast, you'll find this one. So we'll catch you guys tomorrow for Around the Association, the podcast, the Tuesday edition, recapping everything you missed. This is Danny Thompson. We'll catch you guys later on. Have a great Monday. Peace.